If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
Hi, I'm Mike Arce, and I've spent most of my career in the fitness industry and helping those in it succeed. And after helping over 2,000 studios and 50 different franchises within the industry, I've learned a lot about what it takes to be successful. Here, I'll teach your studio how to advertise, how to sell, retain more members, increase profits, and become an overall better business owner in the space. And I share it all with you here. Welcome to the GSD Show. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. I'm Mike Arce, and today I am here with Laurel Roach. Laurel, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
All right, so I got you on because you are crushing it in corporate sales, and that's something you and I have talked about for a while now. We've been talking about your excitement to get more involved in it. We've been friends now for what, like 5 years? Something like that?
Yeah.
And you've had your studio for a while, but really this last year or so, maybe not even that long.
Not even a year, yeah.
Not even a year.
6-8 months.
You focused on how do I get more sales in just one sale. And so you've made about 4 big sales over the last, couple months?
Since September, October, it really started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they were like what, $2,000, $3,000 sales? I mean, $90,000 contracts, right?
$90,000 total with everything so far. And I have 3 that have been recurring, so recurring monthly, and then some one-times with challenges and stuff, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's start from this. What's your biggest package that you sold?
Probably the biggest one was my first, which was actually a small team, a small law firm with 7 people, and he pays $2,900 a month. And then just recently have some new opportunities that I expect to be bigger. They're all tiered based on how many people are participating. So
how many people for that?
For which one?
For the one that's $2,900 a month, you said?
7, a small team of 7.
7 people are paying you $2,900 a month?
Yeah.
Hold on, what's the math on that?
I know, I feel like I'm...
Hold on. 2,900 divided by 7, that's $414 a month per member?
Employee. Mm-hmm.
What do you normally charge for
Not
what they're
that, doing? Not that. We're doing some different things for them. So that, with that, they get, we do a quarterly learning event for them, couple-hour event. They get unlimited training in the studio. They also get our online virtual challenges.
Okay.
So it's kind of the whole thing. And then I'm also charging kind of a management fee to run all of that.
So you're doing extra stuff for them.
Sure.
So it does justify the cost.
Sure.
But still, that's a really good deal.
Mm-hmm.
What do you typically charge a member at your studio? Like just in general, that doesn't have all that stuff.
Sure. On average, about $200 a month, $200 to $250 a month.
$200 to $250 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your employees, do they enjoy working with the corporate accounts? Is it better?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the direction that all of us want to take the studio going forward.
Really?
Is exclusively, I'm hedging all my bets on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about all the pros, because you've listed them out. When you tell your employees, here's why we should do this, and then you start listing all the reasons, what were those reasons?
Well, I think one of the challenges that I was running into is that, everybody knows this, there's so much competition in the space, there's just more options available for people. And so when I looked at that, it's like I'm one of a lot of people in the space doing fitness. And so when I made this transition, I was looking at what are people doing in the corporate space, and are they doing it well?
Right.
Are they getting results? Is it going well for these companies? And it's really not. In my opinion, there's so much opportunity for a studio owner if they understand some of the things that I know now, going into it, what works and what doesn't work, and how to speak the language that a company is looking for when they have a program like this. There's some specific things you need to know. So it's taken me, probably a year with all the research to figure that out. But I think in general, for a studio owner, we're looking at saturation in the market and having to compete with all these people. How do we keep our members engaged to where they'll stay with us for a long period of time? With a corporate contract, it's an annual contract.
Really? So they pay you in full for a year?
They don't pay you in full, but you have a contract.
Okay.
You have a contract because, and the verbiage is really easy. to explain that to a company that if we're working with your employees, we need to have more than a month or two to make these changes with them. It's going to take us some time. So it's not as difficult of a sell that it would be with an individual saying, well, you're with me for a year. You know? And I think from the trainer's standpoint, a lot of trainers, at least my team, they want more. They don't want to make what they make in the fitness industry forever. They want to have more opportunity, and this gives them the ability to do that.
So as an employer, like let's say me, my company, why would I sign up my employees versus, go do your own thing?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you the problem. That probably is the biggest place to start. So when I looked into doing this, I started interviewing everyone. I reached out to every CEO that would talk to me, partners at law firms, anyone who would talk to me and say, hey, what are you doing for wellness? I want to understand what's happening in this space. What programs do you have? And what I found is a lot of companies have a wellness program. It's a retention tool for employees. It's, it makes the company look like they care about their people, but it's not helping anybody. That's what I found. That it checks a box that they have it, but it's not doing any difference. Some of the companies that I've interviewed that have scored the highest on what's like in the Business Journal, healthiest workplaces, all that stuff. It's a bunch of BS.
Really?
They've got donuts in the break room. Everybody's overweight. So they're doing these things, but it's not moving the needle. And the other thing that I found is that for the average company with, let's say, 30 to 300 employees, they are not big enough to qualify for any incentives off their plan. Like they're not making any money back. So they're spending money on this program, and it's just a cost. It's just an expense. So I thought, how do I figure out a way, and I'm still working through this, but I've learned a lot. How do I figure out a way to make this a no-brainer where for somebody like you, how many employees do you have?
About 42.
Perfect.
42.
So you're kind of in that sweet spot where you're just about big enough where if you're doing this and you do it in a certain way, you can qualify for up to 12% off your insurance renewal. There's some things where you actually will get money back, but most companies aren't big enough, like the Amazons of the world. They're big enough where their costs directly impact what their plan is. Those smaller companies, they don't get that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's the benefits of I can save money on insurance, but I'm still paying for the fitness, right? So the cost that I'm saving on insurance doesn't make up for the cost that I'm paying in fitness unless there's some other tangible thing. Why else would I want my people to go through this? What are the selling points? Sell me on it.
Sure. Well, the rebate on your insurance absolutely would pay for it.
Really?
100%.
12%?
Depending on what you're paying. So if you have a plan through, yours is a little different because I know you have Redirect Health.
Yeah.
But if you have a traditional,
but I have that and Sedera, so I'm doing both. So it's costing me like $300 to $400 a month per employee.
That's really low for the average person.
Okay.
For the average company, they're paying $600, $700, $800 per employee for insurance.
Now, is that also age? Because I have a lot of young people too.
Not necessarily. That's just what traditional healthcare is costing.
Right. Traditional.
now.
Yeah.
So, like for example, if you have a plan with Cigna or Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example, if you're paying, let's say you're paying $500 a month per employee, just kind of even. I'm really bad at math, so hopefully I don't screw this up.
My calculator.
Okay, if you're paying $500 a month,
Yep.
and you have 100 employees, $600,000 a year.
Okay.
Your average renewal is about 10%. It's going to increase the following year. So do the math on that.
So $60,000.
It's going to increase $60,000.
Right.
Through specific things that we can do, there's 3 main ones that get you to qualify for those discounts. If you were to save 10% off that renewal, you're saving $60,000. That pays for our program.
That does pay for your program.
Pays for our program. And so my kind of selling point to the customer, if I'm talking to you, the CEO of a company with 100 employees, I'm saying, hey, okay, you're going to invest this in the front end, but your insurance is going to go up 10% every year on average. So it pays for it the second year. What about all those intangible benefits? Productivity, employee culture, all of those things.
Yeah.
Harvard did a study that the average employee that is healthy, that's exercising, that has healthy habits, is 3 times more productive
Yeah, I believe
than
that.
somebody else. 3 times.
I believe it.
So think about that. Like if you have a staff that's making $50,000 a year, how much more are you getting out of those people? But I can't prove that. I can prove through insurance. So my selling point is the numbers, hands down. And that's the problem with a lot of wellness. They're talking about all the fluffy benefits. They're not talking about the numbers. And that's what a CFO or a CEO or whatever, they're going to look at that.
They're going to want to.
What do I get out of spending 50 grand on this program?
Right. So are the employees actually using it? Do you see them going through it? Is it a pretty good usage rate?
Yeah, so I have two things. Up until COVID happened 3 months ago, I had an entirely different business model.
We all did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now it's changed it significantly again. So I was a studio first, then I started with corporate, and I've been figuring that out as we go. Now 3 months later, I have now this new service. So what I'm going to offer employees, what I am offering employees now is live stream training, because before that we didn't have access. We had our programs, but unless they were within 5 miles of our studio, they don't have the benefit of getting coaching from us. Right. So for any studios not doing live stream coaching, you absolutely 100% have to do that. I mean, I'd bet my whole business on it at this point.
Really? Well, you have.
I have, yeah.
You hedged everything towards it. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about your day now. What's your day look like? Because now you're going after corporate business. So what does that look like? What's your sales process look like? Your follow-up process? Your prospecting process? How are you finding the business, and then how are you working them?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. It's been a lot with everything that's happened the last few months. So just recently, I offloaded almost everything to my team so I can focus on sales, because if the book The One Thing you actually recommended to me, if my one thing that's going to make everything else less important is sales, I have to clear off everything off my schedule to be able to focus on that. So the way that I'm getting business is a couple different channels, but primarily LinkedIn.
Okay.
I use Sales Navigator for LinkedIn. And we've talked before about building a course around this.
Right.
Because there are specific things that you need to look for. So for the average gym owner, they're thinking way too big. Oh, I have, I don't know, I can only think of Amazon for some reason. I have Amazon across the street from me. Thousands of employees, or GE or whatever. It's way too big. So the sweet spot is, like I would say, probably no less than 30. I like to focus on 30 to no more than 300, but that 50 to 100 is really the sweet spot, because it's big enough where you can make a difference for them, but it's not too big where you lose engagement because they've got offices all over the place.
Yeah, they're not even connected. This employee doesn't even know
this employee. They don't know these people. Yeah, so what I look for is that 50 to 100 employees, local ownership, so like local decision making.
Okay.
Somebody like yourself who's involved in the business. They are close to their day-to-day. They know their employees. I look at culture too. So that's a big one for me. So you can do some research on the company's website, find out what their core values are. So when you're reaching out to somebody, this is not a numbers game. It's not how many calls can I make today. It's a slow process of research on the firm, making sure they're the right fit. I send custom Loom videos to every prospect.
And so what's that? Because Loom is screen recording.
Yeah, it's basically just like almost like a YouTube video of me talking.
Right.
And I'm still testing different things and seeing what works, but it's me, so they can actually see me and hear me talking. Number one, I think that just comes through more genuine. I took the time to do it, number one. So if you got a Loom video from me, and I'm saying, hey, Mike, I looked at your website and I found this, and I see that your employees are super important to you. That's one of your core values is the team. And I have a wellness program that's very different than anything else you might have heard. It actually really improves employee health, and through some of the things I can show you, it pays for itself. I think it would be worth 15 minutes to meet with me. Not I think. Okay. It would be worth 15 minutes to meet with me.
Very good, good. Okay, so now you send that out, and now all the things you search criteria, like size of the company and the position and all that, you can use Sales Navigator to do all that. So you could say, look for companies within 10 miles or 5 miles of my location that have 50 to 100 employees.
Beautiful thing is they don't even need to be within 5-10 miles of your location if you're doing live
If you're
stream.
doing virtual.
And that was one of the problems I was running into 6 months ago. I would hate to say COVID has been a blessing, it's been awful, but it's forced us to adapt, and that was one of the big holes in I'll admit, in our program. How do we give people the benefit of the coaching we have at the studio? Because the average person doesn't know what they're doing in the gym.
Right.
So we could give them a gym membership, but they don't, that's not gonna help anybody. So if we have the live stream now, we can give them access to that coaching. So the location doesn't really matter. So
now we in Arizona, we've been open for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something
Yeah.
like that. Has that impacted you at all? Like, are people like, hey, this was really cool, but I kind of want to get back into a physical gym now?
I have about half in the studio and half still doing live. I was actually
Oh,
surprised.
so they'll come to your studio.
Some are coming in, not as much as I thought.
Okay.
We're limiting capacity to 6 in a session, and we're not even filling that sometimes.
Really?
There's a lot of people that would still like doing the live stream, myself included. I'm freaking busy.
I know. I've seen
I
you
could
doing
just-
your workouts. You post them on Instagram.
Yeah, if I could just wake up and get this done and I'm done and I don't have to go anywhere, it's convenient. So
Right.
I think for a lot of people, it's a really good solution. So we're still refining that and making it better. And we're using EVS that you created to present that really well. I've developed some relationships with Cigna, the reps at Cigna Healthcare, and I showed them a demo of EVS, and that I'm so glad that I made that investment because it's the presentation
Right.
of whatever your offering is. It needs to look really, really good.
So you've been using an EVS for everyone watching is Elite Virtual Studio. I think you just added .com to that. You go to the site, but it's elitevirtualstudio.com. So you've actually been using EVS to help leverage and sell these corporate accounts better.
Yeah, instead of looking like I just threw this together,
Right.
here's our program.
That's pretty cool. You're the first one I know that's actually gone out and done with that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Everyone else is just using it as a replacement to their studio, but you're using it to make more corporate sales.
And
which
the
is
other
good.
thing I'm thinking about, I haven't done this yet, but I'm thinking about doing is for those clients who maybe our normal program is out of their budget, it costs me nothing, zero, to charge $5 per employee per month for a 100-person group, and they have access to the Elite Virtual Studio platform.
That's right.
We add them to our Facebook group so they get the access to the coaching, and they see our recorded
Right.
lives.
I think that's what we kind of talked about, right? Last time it was
don't know.
we talked about something where it was like, yeah, just get them in for something, but you found a way to get them in for something where it doesn't literally cost you anything.
I haven't done that yet,
Okay.
just because the one I just sold, Academy Mortgage, they have about 2,000 employees across the country, but they operate in silos, so they have statewide decision making, and they have 200 locally here, and they pay $1,900 a month.
So they do 1,900. They have 200 employees.
200 employees,
And
but
so
only about 25 are using it.
Only 25 are using it.
Right
Okay.
now.
And so that's why it's 1,900. So your goal is to, number one, I'm assuming, continue to use that to infiltrate all the other
Yes.
employees within that same one
Yep.
location, and then from there, create case studies to sell to all the other ones.
Exactly.
Are you going to create video, like create a cool video showing their story?
Yeah, I mean, they just signed up.
Okay.
Like, just signed up. And one of the, I
I'd
think,
love. It'd be cool is document where they're at now.
Yeah.
Like do a beginning to end. It's like, hey, you guys are starting. Is it okay if we document like the journey of your employees and we'll give it to you as a company? You can leverage it as a recruiting tool to show how we actually care about our employees.
Sure.
But you also get to leverage it, and this is how we help companies.
yeah.
Hey, hold on. I know this episode's really good and you want to get back to it, but before we do, it's important you help me with something. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this show so that we can get more and more people to hear about it like you do. All right, thanks. Back to the episode.
So one of the barriers that I've come across so far is that the current clients that I have haven't been as interested in, I haven't been able to create case studies around them because they're either a little bit too small. So like the law firm, 7 people, it's not big enough for me to, go over like the insurance
Right.
discounts and all that stuff. Academy Mortgage is almost too big. They're
Right.
2,000, they're on a big group plan. So my focus is really partnering with Cigna and the benefits group that I've kind of built a relationship here. I feel like we're all over the place, but
Yeah.
there's some good stuff that I want to
Yeah.
make sure everybody gets.
Well, no, I mean, you've done what I've done even with my business, right? Like in the very beginning, when we went niche into fitness, we got personal trainers, and then we had big bucks, and then we had all the small group, and then over time we were like, okay, we can help the personal trainers, we can help the big box, but this is our sweet spot. The large group fitness, that was our sweet spot. The Orange Series, the F45s, the title boxings, all that.
Right.
And so once we knew that, that's where we paid attention. It's not that these aren't awesome, but yeah, the case studies are all here.
Right. So that's kind of what my big push is. So, advice to anybody looking into doing this. Number one, I have a relationship with the largest employee benefits group in the state. If you can, their name is Benefit Commerce Group. They're like right down the street from you, actually. But if you can introduce yourself to any benefits companies in your group, find out who they work with. So for employee benefits, it's either there's property casualty insurance or there's employee benefits. None of this stuff I knew.
Right.
So when you're doing research, if you're just looking at insurance providers, they do property casualty or employee benefits. You got to find these people, and then you got to further find what's their sweet spot. Who do they work with? So some employee benefits groups might work with companies with 10 or less.
Right.
This particular one I found works in my exact niche, 50 to like 300.
Really?
My exact niche. I've built relationships with them. I'm meeting with the CEO tomorrow, showing them EDS.
How did you get that meeting? What did you say? How did you get that meeting?
Well, I told you I went all in.
Yeah.
So I found a group called Accelerant.
Yes, I remember.
They
that.
operate in some different states. They're not in every state. It's $20,000 a year to be a member in it. But it's all large company, not large, but mid-sized companies.
They're doing well.
In my niche.
Yeah.
All of them. So I found Academy Mortgage through that. I got the benefits, the introduction to the benefits group. They're the title sponsor of that group. So I thought, all right, if I'm a member of this group, it costs me $20,000. I need to get one contract.
You made that back with the $1,900
Yep.
deal.
And I've been a member since December.
Right.
So I think my first month I had like 49 meetings or something. I was just like, everybody, I'm going to meet them and whatever. So it's still getting there, but I've gotten one and it's paid for itself. So employee benefits groups, they need to find those in their state and make sure they are in that niche that they deal with. If they can find through the employee benefits group, they have the relationships with the insurance brokers. All those insurance brokers have their wellness people. So that's now who I'm building relationships with. The people who, Cigna, for example, has 7 wellness reps. They're called wellness engagement reps or something like that. There's 7 of them in Cigna here locally. If I build relationships with them, they all have a book of business of 50 clients.
Right.
So it's very relationship driven. That's how you're going to get the.
So when you're prospecting and you go, okay, I'm going to reach out to these people. Obviously, you send the Luke video. You said that's good. So you introduce yourself there. Once they message you back and they say, all right, you know what? Let's do it. Let's get something in the books. What's the next step? Do you go meet with the owners and have the numbers conversation? Do you meet with the employees and get them excited about what you do? Do you meet them all at the same time? How does that work?
I've tried a lot of things.
Yeah, which ones work the best?
What's worked the best, honestly, if you can find somebody who is fit themselves. So I'll just use you as another example. You
Don't laugh, McKenna. We're on camera. Control yourself. You're the producer here.
He's not fit, McKenna.
She laughs at me. I give one flex, and
I
she
see it.
finds it hilarious.
He's got some bicep vein there.
Yeah, McKenna's been working out a year now. She's got a whole different standard as to what fit is. Get out of here.
Go do your pull-ups, McKenna.
Do you find somebody?
But for you, you're a fit guy, so obviously you're living this. When I'm looking on LinkedIn, if the CEO or the person I want to meet with is 400 pounds overweight, they're not bought into what I'm selling,
Right.
So that is something that I look for as well, and I will invite them to a class. So I either invite them to the studio, I invite them to a live stream class. They take a class. They meet my team, who's awesome. I'll put them with one of my best coaches. I'm on that class with them.
Do you prefer they come to the studio, or do you prefer they do live stream?
It's worked the same both ways.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
It's worked the same both ways. So if I'm thinking back on the ones that have really been successful, they experienced what we do.
Okay.
And they know the difference. So then it's easier for me to talk about it with them instead of saying, you know, oh, this is how it is. They've seen it. Wow, I get so much great coaching. This is so much better than if I offered my employees a gym membership, you know? So that's kind of been the first step. It might be like a coffee or something first. But I think what I did wrong in the beginning is just overkill. Just gave way too much in the beginning, almost like word vomited on them.
Yeah, yeah.
So now it's like, hey, I think this could be really good for your employees. I'd love for you to experience it. How I got Academy Mortgage was I offered them a free month of live stream at a dedicated time. So I created one Zoom link for their entire company. I think we did 2 because they have 200 employees.
Okay.
So it was outside of my existing schedule. I didn't have to mess with all that. And it was on a Thursday. So I said, you know, Jake, they have like a all hands-on meeting on a Monday. So why don't you do this on a Thursday? You send out the link. Whoever wants to come on can come on. We had about 50 participate in that. And the feedback was so great, didn't cost them a thing. He got to see who used it for 4 weeks.
Wow.
I got to build a relationship with him in the meantime. Met with him a couple times on the phone. And then the other thing that I like about it is it creates some urgency. So now your employees have been using this for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
What happens in week 5?
Yeah, you're gonna stop it?
Are you gonna just stop? Or it almost like forces a decision either way, which is my most annoying thing. It's like, just tell me I'm a big girl, I can handle no. Stop pushing it off, which is what happens.
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of forced a decision.
Okay, I like that. So now let's say I do push you off. How do you follow up with me?
I mean, that hasn't happened really.
Okay.
I think if it did happen, I would basically say that, you know, hey, your employees are really in a really great rhythm here. I would hate to have them stop all this positive momentum and people that are exercising and they're doing this. I'd hate to have them stop that.
Right.
You know.
What are your goals by the end of the year, or however you design your goals, whether it's a certain month or this month or whatever, but how do you want to like measure your success for this year?
Well, I mean, revenue's down for me like almost 40%.
Everyone.
With everything that happened.
Yeah.
So my goal is just to get back to where we were for this year.
But that's for revenue. But I mean corporate. How many corporate sales are you looking to make? Or is it a dollar amount, or is it a amount of clients, or is it amount of employees?
You know, that's one of the things I've kind of struggled with, because it used to be number of clients. And I can't really control that. It's a longer sales cycle, number one. So my goal is really focused on activity. I can't control if somebody signs necessarily, but I can control how many meetings I'm having, how many times I'm meeting with the Cigna reps, how many times I'm meeting with Benefit Commerce Group. The benefits group has 30 that all have a book of business. So this is how I built my in my corporate job before I owned the gym. Built up to $5 million in revenue in 4 years. Just relationships. Focus on building the relationships, and when the opportunity is there, they will use you.
That's pretty cool.
You know.
What are the margins on that versus, you know, the standard membership that you had? You still have, but focused on.
I mean, I shoot for a 30% margin.
Okay, that's cool. And let's say you have 200 employees at a company. How many employees would you need to manage that? Could one person do that? Could one person manage several of those companies?
It depends what they're doing.
Okay.
So on the live stream, plenty of capacity. I think that's easy. It's just a matter of hiring more 1099 trainers to coach those classes. If I need to add additional Zoom classes, if things end up being full and that kind of thing. The other thing we didn't talk about is, so I have the live stream at EVS. the challenge model was kind of how I started.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that? Because I think that's
yes.
So when I did all this research in the beginning, I think I told you the problem was you couldn't measure success. Like it was, we're doing a wellness program. We have no idea who's participating. Participation rates are really low. It's not helping people get healthier. So I started doing research and I found a company called Nuvita CoreSync. Talked to the CEO. They dealt with really big companies, Pfizer, GE, national groups. Well, the CEO and I kind of, after talking, he said he wants to change his model to work with studios, select studios that can work with like kind of a higher end corporate clientele, train them how to do what they're doing in corporate, train them how to do that, and it's an additional revenue stream for a gym. So that's originally how I started, was with this. And I sold 2, I think, in a few months or something. It went really quickly. And so with that model, they have an app that can be branded to your company. I've been talking to him about, I think it needs to be white labeled so it looks like it's the actual studio owner's app. When you download it, it says CoreSync. So he's open to that. So there's an opportunity to have that be available to everybody.
Well, really quick, I want to do the math on that too. So for everyone listening, it's going, 2 sales in 2 months. But your sales are like $24,000 contracts.
It was like 3 months. It was like September and I think October or November, December.
But either way, like they're like $24,000 contracts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you made 2 sales, that's $48,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Divide that by 12, that's $4,000. If the average member is paying $150 at a normal studio, that's like adding 26 members.
Yep.
But not having to do all the work to add 26.
And they stay for a year.
And they stay for a year.
Yep.
Which, if your average retention is 6 months, that's really like adding 52 members, technically.
Yeah.
Right? And if you add 52 members in a 2-3 month period, that's not a bad game.
And the average length of time that a corporate contract really exists is really like 2 to 3 years. If you're doing things right and you're present and involved and everything, why would they leave?
Right. That's awesome. So, Laurel, if somebody wanted to learn more from you, can they learn more from you? Or are you teaching people this stuff? Or are you just kind of like, you're on the show?
No, I mean, I'm totally open to doing that. I think I saw my cost per lead quadruple in 2018. That's why I did this. I was like, I can slowly go out of business or I can figure something else out. Yeah. So we started doing that with a couple Loud Room or kind of like as a pilot, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So.
But I think you helped one get a big one, right? Was it Bob or something?
Bob got a yes to proceed. They're fine with the cost. They're fine with everything. They just want to know that their employees want to participate. So I had a call with him like a week and a half ago, and he, as soon as that company can meet in person again, he's going to do the presentation, which is one thing I've found. You got to get in front of them. That's one thing. You have to get in front of them first, tell your story. That's a big thing for me. Like I tell my story, get people to connect emotionally with you, and then tell them you have an opportunity. Hey, your boss cares about you. They want you to be healthy. You have this great opportunity to participate in this awesome program. It's not going to cost you a thing. And we're getting like 70% participation, like crazy.
So when you say tell your story, how deep are you going? How long are you talking for?
I go deep, but that's just me.
Well, yeah, you're a deep person, I get that. But like, how long is this? Just so people are listening, they go, oh man, so it started all on a rainy day, 2000.
No.
Yeah, so like, what's the length of time that you will allocate for the story? And then when you say deep, like how deep will you go? So
my presentation, basically sales process, get them on LinkedIn, set up a meeting, either a trial or whatever it is. My next step is, hey, let me do an in-person event, a lunch and learn. I don't even buy the lunch.
Do you get it sponsored? Is that what you do?
They buy lunch.
Oh, they buy lunch?
I say, do a team meeting with all your staff. I'll come in and we'll do kind of like a kickoff thing. We'll see, because it's very low pressure for the person. If I did that for you and I said, hey, before we move forward at all, the first thing you probably want to know is, do people want to do this or not, right? Like if they're not interested, we're kind of done, you know?
Right.
So that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So let me come in, I'll do a presentation about, health and fitness, why this matters to them, get them thinking about it. at the end, we'll survey them and we'll see who wants to participate. Like, hey, if this was either free or cost you this much, whatever it is we want to say, we survey them at the end. I calculate all the results, and what happens is when you connect with people emotionally, they buy on emotion, they back up with logic. So when I'm in front of them and I'm talking about why their health matters to them, Mike, you know, you're 60 years old and you've got grandkids or whatever, why does this matter to you? Like, you want to be around for your grandkids, right? Like, you want to be available to play with them and be there for them when they get older, don't you?
Yes.
Then I give you a survey and I ask you how you rate your health today. Would you be interested in participating if this was offered to you?
Wow.
Everybody, in the moment, everybody's saying yes.
That's pretty cool.
You know?
That's
so
pretty cool.
I calculate those results the same day, send them back to the CEO, and I say, we got 93% that say they want to do something.
That's awesome. So when you're doing that presentation to them, and that's kind of that part of the question. So you got, you know, stuff you talk about fitness and wellness, and you get into them, but when you talk about your story, how much time do you spend on yours?
Maybe 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes. Okay, so it's not, that's what I mean. It's not like a 20-minute presentation on just your story.
No.
5 minutes in your story, how you got to where you were to where you are today.
What I do is I talk about, for a lot of fitness owners, I've noticed kind of a theme. We all kind of have a past. There's some reason that fitness means a lot to us, that we care about it, that we're passionate about it. Either you had a unhealthy family member or you had a history of drugs and I mean, whatever. There's something there for most people. One of my employees has a pretty crazy story too. It's like almost homeless and drugs and whatever. He's totally turned his life around. So we tell our story, why it matters to us. I play a video that's like 6 minutes. It was actually at an EO event. I stole it.
Okay.
And it's very impactful. It gets people thinking about why this stuff matters and what they want their life to be like. And then we get into like the opportunity, what they have in front of them. So it's pretty short, maybe 30, 40 minutes, the whole thing.
What's the video? Is this something I can find on YouTube?
I can send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be
Good.
cool. Okay,
It's
yeah.
got Will
send it to
Smith
me.
narrating. Who doesn't love that?
Oh, wait. Is it like different clips of Will Smith talking?
Yeah, he's talking about self-discipline and
Yes.
like you either
Will
pay for
Smith's-
it now or later. And
Oh, maybe it's different. Yeah, I like to see it because there's one that I really do like. If you search on YouTube, Will Smith inspirational, it's like a 9-minute and 58-second video. It's
I wonder
awesome.
if it's the same one.
It might be, but it's awesome. I've had my team watch it before.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, send it to me. We'll see.
So you gotta, you know, I thought I could either get up there and talk about, I forget who told me this. I think my EO group. I was
Okay.
like, man, I got this opportunity in front of everybody. What do I talk about? Do I talk about exercises they can do at their desk? Like, no, they don't care. You know,
Right.
talk about why it matters to them.
Right. That's really cool. That's awesome. I want them to reach out to you.
Okay.
Because you're making money,
Yeah.
and you're having more fun, and you're already at the point where you're saying you're betting your whole business on it, and you're going towards it now.
Yeah.
You're in the Facebook group, so everybody that's part of Loud Rumor, in the Facebook group, it's Laurel Roach. Search her. You can message her there. But then, how else can they reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, they can send me an email or whatever. I mean, really, what I think makes the most sense is I got to create like a step-by-step how to do this, because there is a system, but I'm figuring it out as I go too.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so if you're part of Loud Rumor Members Only, that Facebook group, go ahead and connect with her there. If you're not, you say send me an email. Do you want to give your email here?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. What is it?
Laurel, Laurel,
Okay.
at tryfitwellness.com.
At TryFit, and it's try, not like I want to try to do this. It's try like
'Cause we don't say that.
tricep, McKenna. Zoom in on the tricep, McKenna. TryFit Wellness. So TRIFIT Wellness.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Laurel, thank you.
Yeah,
it was
thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
And for everybody watching and for everybody listening, we will see you next week. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, or YouTube. And to watch more episodes and get exclusive links from each episode, go to GSDShow.com. Again, that's GSDShow.com.